Well, good evening, everybody.
Yay!
We're so excited to see everybody. My name is Natasha Barrett, the spokesperson for the city. Can we get a round of applause for 70 years of the Brunson?
Yay!
It was 70 years ago tonight. This is the 70th year. Can I get my English together here? 70 years ago tonight, it opened for the first time. So this is really cool. We decided this would be the best night to do it. And thank goodness the rain and the weather, cross your fingers, cross your toes, will hold out for us here. But welcome. She wore her boots. She wore her cowgirl hat. She's ready. I love it. I want to say a big welcome to our city council here, our mayor's here, our city manager, and of course we have some esteemed guests you might recognize here from higher offices in the state that we'll introduce in just a little bit. But let's get started for this. We have so many neat things inside to show off for you guys. I want to mention that we do have a special guest here, Mr. Brunson, that's nephew of the guy that owned this place back in the day. Wave your hand. He's in town. He's got so many cool little stories. I know it's muggy outside, so let's get started. I want to introduce our city manager, Mr. Rick Davis. There you go. Come on.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rick Brunson. Well, for tonight it is. It really is a thrill of a lifetime. I never dreamed that I'd have the opportunity to be participating in such an event as this. You know, coming to the city just a little more than 4 years ago, I'd never heard of the Brunson Theater. I drove by it, and then I said, oh, cool, they have an indoor pool in Baytown. That's neat. Got a pool. I wouldn't swim in it, but, you know, at least it's there. And I started slowly to understand how much this edifice means to the citizens of Baytown and the residents of Baytown. People even outside of Baytown used to come here and used to create memories. Some of you are here today because of the memories you created, not because we just renovated an old building. And that's so much more important than just simply renovating a building. We have preserved memories. And in so doing, we have preserved the soul of Baytown. And that's what historic preservation is all about. It's about saving our soul as we move into the future. Because we can move into the future, but if we don't have a hand on the rudder of the past, then the future doesn't mean as much. That is so critically important. I'm glad to be part of this. I'm very glad that after 3.5 years, we could cut the ribbon on this project. Because it was like the little boy putting his finger in the dike. Every time we thought we plugged a leak, another one would happen. And we finally just pulled out all the stops and sealed this thing. So if you see any water, please do not tell me. Okay? I don't want to know about it. But I compliment the council, who's always in the mayor's, both Mayor Don Carlos and Mayor Capuchino, that have been behind this project from the very beginning. The council, past council members, I see my friend Dave McCartney here, who also has been behind this project. And of course, Chris Presley, you're going to hear about him. He has had a passion for this project, and there have been citizens too that have been very passionate. I'm thankful to those like Dale Hughes who kind of nursed this and this project through from the very beginning. Dale's waving right there. If I tried to name everybody, I'd forget somebody. Just our staff, our elected officials, thank you. Enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. Well, we just talked about him. The Councilmember Chris Presley, can you join me up here?
Thank you. So I thought about starting off with a very sophisticated quote from a famous poet, maybe a president, something like that, but I ended up settling on something a little less sophisticated and a little less presidential. So Yogi Berra once said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up somewhere else. And we may have had a few starts and stops over the years with the Brunson, with downtown revitalization, but we've always known where we're going with revitalization of the old downtown, especially with this local landmark that we're standing in tonight. Of course, I've said it before, tonight isn't the work of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 individuals. It's the work and really the culmination of the hopes, the will, the hard work, and the determination of so many people. And I'm not gonna, we're gonna keep repeating the same people possibly, but I do just want to recognize a few people that are here tonight. First and foremost, you just heard from Rick Davis. Honestly, to say that he's been a huge supporter is really, that would be an understatement. He's really been a dream come true for advancing the revitalization of this part of town. Of course, I don't know if he's here. He may not be here, but former Mayor Steve Don Carlos, and I had some former colleagues on City Council, and in particular, Councilman David McCartney has been very passionate, worked very hard as well. And I would really like to recognize my former colleagues on council as well. And of course, my current colleagues on City Council, Laura Alvarado, Charles Johnson, Heather Bettencourt, Dave Hensel, and Bob Hoskins, and of course, Mayor Brandon Capetillo. We have a younger generation on council now with Laura and Charles and Heather, and 3 or 4 years ago, Brandon and I were the younger generation. I'm not sure where we went wrong, but I don't know what happened. But it's been really nice to have them on council. They see the vision. They believe in the vision, so they've been nothing but assets to the efforts down here. And of course, Dale and Russell and some of the citizens that have continually beat the drum publicly. It's just that's been awesome as well. Of course, there's a lot of others. This effort, Rick said 3.5 years, but honestly, we had a downtown master plan commissioned in 2004. So it's actually been a long, bumpy ride at times. And there were a lot of folks and groups that spearheaded other efforts in years past, like the Historic Goose Creek Association, the Baytown Downtown Association. There were some individuals that are actually no longer with us today that Bill Harrison, who revitalized that building there on the corner at 400, he actually was kind of ahead of his times and revitalized 3 or 4 different buildings down here in the 90s. And of course, Billy Barnett, who's no longer with us, was very passionate about the Brunson project as well. And also, I guess maybe last but not least, I understand, now I had this in my speech, and I didn't know he was going to be here tonight, but someone told me that former city manager Bob Leeper is here as well. Wow. And so I had to, this probably would have been better to say it if you weren't here, but I'm going to say it even though you're here. So, so when I first got on council and was elected in 2013, probably within a month or two, I was a new councilman, and I went into his office and said, I need a key to get inside the Brunson and look around. And I'll always remember this. I'm sorry, councilman, but I can't let you inside. It's a safety hazard. So I went home and thought about it and slept on it for all of maybe one night. And we eventually came to a meeting of the minds. He didn't give me a key, so I guess we sort of brokered a compromise. He did allow me access into the building with a couple of city employees, and really he came around, and he was really instrumental to the town square that we're going to walk over to later this evening, and he was a big supporter as well there. And last but not least, all the City of Baytown employees and the citizens that I see down here that I know patronize the area. Honestly, that's the single most important thing that anybody can do, that's a fan or supporter or a champion of the area, is to come down here and patronize the small businesses. So, in closing, I'll end with kind of stealing a saying that was directed at council during a couple of council meetings when we were discussing the plan for the Brunson. And it is, if you can dream it, you can do it. And we dreamt it, we did it, and with the city's continued investment, the continued investment of the small business community, the patronage of the city, hopefully we ain't seen nothing yet, maybe. Thank you.
You want that for your fridge? Okay, here you go. Well, let's keep the train moving. You recognize this guy, our state representative, Briscoe Kane. Please come up here and join us. I know you have some very important paperwork in your hand, so please explain. There you go.
August 23rd, 1949. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands of those of you who were on this world when this building opened, but it's pretty neat. I'm looking out at this crowd and I'm amazed because believe it or not, a lot of this was done with your money and your investment. And it's impressive to see that those are going to be happy about it and you're thankful for it. And as they were saying, is you want to continue to see this area turn around, it's actually going to take you. It's going to take we the people to show up and come to these businesses and continue to show gratitude and interest in our community. And so we had a resolution done honoring this anniversary of the grand opening. And it's far too long, and y'all hear politicians speak all too often. I'm not going to bore you with reading it, but I just wanted to come and be present today and enjoy it along with you and look forward to you while we're here. But congratulations, Baytown. This is an achievement. And thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Krista. All right, moving right along, for U.S. Congressman Brian Babin's office, Will Carter is our great friend here locally, and you also bring a gift for the city.
Thank you, Natasha. So I've got a certificate of special congressional recognition from Congressman Brian Babin. It's presented to the city of Baytown on this 23rd day of August 2019. Congratulations on behalf of the people of the 36th District on the grand reopening of the Brunson Theater on its 70th anniversary. And thank you for the city's efforts in the revitalization of historic downtown Baytown. Dr. Brian Babin.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate it. All right, let's hear it for our mayor, Mr. Brandon Capetillo.
What an exciting time for Baytown. Who would think in 2019 that we're going to be on Texas Avenue opening the Brunson once again? So let's give it up. It was all hands on deck. Let's give it up for everybody in the community. I don't want to repeat a lot of what you heard already, but I will tell you, I'll give you my perspective. Besides watching Star Wars and other movies here as a child, never would I thought that we would see the Brunson in the situation that it was in, the condition it was in, but certainly more than that, never would I have thought that we would go. We have a building that we're so proud, so excited to show you because it's everyone's building. This is a building for you, for your families. I see a lot of faces here, a lot of very familiar faces that have lots of good memories in the Brunson, but it's bigger than that because what we're trying to do here, we're not trying to recreate Texas Avenue. We're not trying to recreate the era that maybe was once here. We're celebrating those things, and council, we're building upon that. As Chris said, we are going. The interest that we have in this area, this is just the beginning. The best is yet to come for this area. We're to continue to go and attract interest here, private interest, so that we can all have in a historic arts district that can certainly be something that we have something to be proud of. When I got on council, I had lots of people, a lot of naysayers that said, don't spend my money there, leave it alone, just abandon it. And I think I could buy into that to a certain point, but I believe as a elected official, I believe that would be irresponsible of us as a community to allow decay to happen, not just here at the Brunson, but it grows into the entire area. So to go and have a council, to have a city administration, to have staff that go, they don't just do it because they get a paycheck. They do it because their heart is in it, just like your heart's in it. Believe me, you're not here just because you had nothing else to do. You're here because your heart drove you here tonight to Texas Avenue. So with that, we're going to continue to enrich lives and build community here in Baytown. So I want to say, here in just a few minutes, we want to welcome to this fabulous facility. We did everything we can to make sure that it will sustain the weather, that it will sustain what we want to have so that people will come here to Baytown, a Baytown that we can all be proud of. So for that, I thank you for coming out here personally. Council, we are just so excited, and we thank you for spending this evening with us. So thank you, Baytown.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I know it is hot and muggy, so we're going to move this right along. One more shout out that I just realized, and I'm going to embarrass y'all, but if y'all don't mind walking out here, the great granddaughter of Mr. Brunson is here with his great granddaughter. They just joined us, so I think it's so cool. If you could guys give them a round of applause, because this wouldn't be happening without them.
This is Marissa Reardon, and she lives in Memorial in Houston, Texas. And Martha, come here. She made it. This is Howard Brunson's daughter. Martha went to Lee High School. I was told she was the prettiest girl at Lee High School in her day. I won't tell you when that is, but Martha she got lost. It's been a while. She came from out of state and she got lost. But we're the family. Let me just take just a minute, if I can, and say, representing the family. I grew up here. Don't live here anymore. On the road a lot. But Uncle Howard was a very, very special man. He actually called, he was my great uncle, he called my grandfather when he was 16 years old in Andalusia, Alabama, and he said, John, he said, I want you to get on a train and I want you to come to Baytown, Texas. Find the train and get here. He said, we got a boom going on. And that was Humble Oil Refinery back in the day. But he said, you know what we need? He said, we need a grocery store. We need a clothing store. He said, we need movie theaters. He said, come over here and we might get rich. And it worked out. It worked out. But I just want to say to the people of Baytown and Rick Davis and Brandon and Bob, all you guys, my brother, Mr. Hemsel, he takes care of me at Kroger's when I roll into town. But I want to say to the city of Baytown, we are so, so, so grateful that you've done this. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you guys for being here. All right, we're going to get Macy real soon. So council and our city manager and our mayor, please come right over here. You guys could just line the doors up with them. Representative Payne, Will Carter from our congressman's office.
Come out of the way. You're going to walk right up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you about to experience terrific today.
Can y'all scoot in just a little bit more? It's going to be hard to get everybody.
All right, get your cameras ready because the big scissors are coming. And these are supposed to work. I sharpened them just for this, Brandon. Yes. Okay, y'all good? Okay, they're good. All right, get ready for the pictures. Let's cut the ribbon, guys.
Here we go, live on Reed Baytown. Oh, looks good.
All right. 2, got pictures?
Yeah.
All right, 3.
And now we're open.